Iran war has been such a disaster for Donald Trump that close United States allies are starting to abandon the United States for China, because it's all fun and games until you realize that your global hegemon is a complete loser that is in decline. Close United States allies like Canada, France, and Italy, who would never cross the United States otherwise, are now ignoring Trump warnings about doing business with China because they view China as more reliable and the United States as deeply unstable. Due to Donald Trump's thirst for never-ending destabilizing war and his aggressive, incoherent use of sanctions, China is appearing to be stronger than ever. Just another example of China doing nothing and then winning. The United States and Donald Trump is also in panic mode because Iran has made it 100% clear that the Straits of Hormuz is not closed. It's only closed for the United States and their close allies who support the war against Iran. Donald Trump is single-handedly tanking the petrodollar, as Iran said that anyone who buys oil using the Chinese yuan is allowed to pass through the Straits of Hormuz. And there are reports that this is already happening. So Donald Trump tanked dollar dominance in order to appease and fight a war on behalf of Israel. We need Americans to understand that these Washington neocons have no idea what they're doing, and their foreign policy actually harms the average American. There is nothing patriotic about supporting the wars of the Epstein class.
What's poppin'? My friends, my family, you guys know I'm always in the lab cooking. Want to know else who's always in the lab cooking as well? My friend Rathbone. We got this new series, man. I think this is going to be another banger. This is season 2, episode 2 of Rathbone and Nick. I was about to say Nick and Rathbone, but I'd be humble. I think Rathbone go first. Rathbone and Nick. What's poppin', my friend?
Nothing much, man. I'm just I want to say I really enjoy your synopsis of everything that's going on with these TikTok style videos. I was enjoying that. That very much succinctly put all of the Iran war into context for us. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. My old boomer adjacent ass decided to try to compete with these young Gen Z kids on the TikToks.
Are you guys still on TikToks? You're still on there?
No, I was banned. I'm pretty sure I was banned, but I'm back on Instagram, bro. These hotspot videos actually do pretty well on Instagram now. I was grinding, like we've been grinding hotspot. I mean, my hotspot videos on Instagram get more views than my YouTube videos now. Like Jesus Christ! So guys, that's the way it is. That's where we're supposed to go. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah. What is Hotspot? Is that your own brand, or is that something that you're?
That's my project with Nico House.
Oh, okay.
And we also have probably the greatest free agency signing of all time, where we got David Hadayan from West African Weekly. He's a very prominent African reporter, over 1 million followers on X. He's about as bright as it comes. So it's me, my brother Nico, and David Hadayan. We release these short videos covering news from an anti-imperialist perspective.
Yeah.
And they essentially don't tell me what to I pretty much can report on whatever I want. So it made me a much sharper commentator, that's for sure. I've been doing about 2 years now.
Yeah.
I had to read maybe 7 to 10 articles. They only 2 minutes, but they take a lot of work. I
can see it and all the edits, and then are you writing out all the points that you want to make, or you just kind of do it on the fly?
Usually it depends on the topic. Sometimes I can knock it out pretty quick, but I like to make a script first. I like to have an outline generally, and then I'll go from there. And making everything 2 minutes, it makes me become sharper as a writer.
Yeah, no doubt.
Every second matters. You guys see me on live stream, I'll be rambling sometimes.
Yeah,
I know I got to hit every single point. That's why I think it's probably my best content. My YouTube streams are just cathartic, ranting, therapy streams for the most part.
Right. You need both, I think. I think when I was making more concise content, I noticed that if I streamed beforehand, I could kind of codify everything that I had just spoke about, and I had a better understanding of it. So I think the one informs the other, but
I became a much better commentator ever since doing those hotspot videos as well, because it's I do those I do about 4 of those every week. Wake up every morning, do those, so I can still stream in the evening. And I'm forced to read
Yeah.
5 to 10 articles every morning. So I'm like, oh shit, it's actually. I was like, this is a lot of work, but I realized because you guys know I'm a martial artist. I understand like the science of getting better at something. I'm like, man, this shit is hard. And especially in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if there's really a lot of payoff in this, but I'm gaining a lot personally from this. And we discussed a lot about on the channel, like rejecting anti-intellectualism. So even if I wasn't getting any views, it'd be like, to me, it's a great practice to keep
Yeah,
sharp.
no, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. For the love of the game, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you want to be effective, you want to be influential, and it takes work. And we all appreciate that. I want to say we should probably collab on Instagram. I don't think we connect there. I mainly see you on Twitter, and I gotta say, I feel like we're in the same fight. You know, we have the same sort of style. We love trolling the Zionists, and you just gave me my new favorite line, which is as we're watching all of the destruction in Tel Aviv, it's like, inject this shit into my veins. I love that.
Yeah, we have to. I've been waiting for this moment of Tel Aviv being bombed for well over a decades at this point, probably, because I remember I was first radicalized on the issue of Palestine during the 2014, the genocidal wave that happened 10 years ago, where they saw a bunch of Palestinians back then, and that's when I got introduced in the issue. And this was around the same time where, I'm like, bro, hell, there's no way I'm ever voting for a Democrat ever again, because all the slaughter of the Palestinians that happened in 2014, that happened under Obama. And I was already done with Obama. At that point, I was already getting tired of this motherfucker. And then I saw how many Palestinians he was killing.
Operation Protective Edge. No way. Yeah. I see you were way wiser and more aware of what was going on in Israel and Palestine, occupied Palestine, far before I was, but yeah, 2014 was Operation Protective Edge. It was like one of the worst crimes committed by the Israeli state up until that point. The one previous to that was just as bad. I mean, Operation Cast Lead, and it's after October 7th, I did a deep dive. You know, I read Norman Finkelstein's book, and I got you know, the knowledge about just how this has been an ongoing thing and just completely appalling. But yeah, you're right. Obama just as bad. But what do you think about what's happening now? I mean, are we about to like have a ground invasion of Iran?
I'm terrified right now, fam. I'm terrified because I've been explaining on my channel for the last 2 weeks, and you've been doing fantastic coverage on your nightly show on this. How much Iran completely tactically destroyed the United States, and the only thing the United States and Israel is actually able to do is inflict terrorism on the Iranian people.
Absolutely.
In response. And this is what my hotspot video, I'm glad you set me up on this, because this is what's going on geopolitically, the geopolitical consequences of Trump starting this war with Iran, that all the other presidents who was owned by Israel, even they wasn't dumb enough to do this.
Yeah.
You think Bibi didn't try to sweet talk Barack Obama Rathbone? He was like, you guys are fucking crazy.
Dude, and this is exactly what Trump was deriding Obama in his tweets at the time. He was saying, oh, Obama's going to get suckered into a war with Iran because he can't negotiate. And it's like, you did the fucking
I need to find that tweet.
Like, not even Obama was dumb enough. And then he incredulously tells us that no other president would do what I'm doing. And he doesn't even have the self-awareness to think, yeah, why do you think that is? Why do you think every president before you said this is a bad idea? And indeed, we're seeing why that is play out right now.
And fam, Obama was down for some shit, bro. Obama, he's like, bro, I'll torture some folks. Remember he said it? I said, you sometimes you do torture some folks, man. You torture some folks. So he was down for torturing people.
Drone strikes.
He's stabilizing Africa. Like, yeah, he hired Hillary Clinton. I was like, once as I became an adult and I abandoned my sweet liberal child I was as a teenager, I looked into what Hillary Clinton has done, and I'm like, bro, you hired her, fam? And I also had Hillary Clinton derangement very early on, even when I was more liberal-minded, because what happened in 2008? It was Hillary Clinton versus Obama. So I remember I was like, fuck Hillary Clinton for running against Obama as a teenager. Yeah. So I already didn't like her. I already did a lot of Apple research, but then once I really understood geopolitics, I'm like, bro, oh my God, dude, this party is cooked. And it's only got worse. They have this new strategy, Rathbone, where they have like new young Gen Z, Hillary Clinton style progressives who support war against China over Taiwan, but say free Palestine.
You talking
that's their
about
new trick.
Cat Abughazaleh or whatever?
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much because we're gonna get to that a little bit later. We're gonna get to that a little bit later today.
Yeah,
but that's
sure.
They have these. I don't know if you've seen it, but these new Gen Z progressives, they're like free Palestine, man, free Palestine. Yeah, I think Nicolas Maduro is a tyrant and a dictator.
Yeah, and they're like NATO war hawks. It's so wild.
They support NATO. They support the Nazis in Ukraine. And then they get upset with you when you bring it up. They're like, hey, man, what's up with that Nazi support?
I was thinking about this, too, because didn't AIPAC, I mean, if you want, we can also talk about that story later on if you want to.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. That's my second official story, the AIPAC, Weeping Progressive Democrats. We're just kind of chatting now, but feel free, Rathbone.
Yeah, but you're right about the petrodollar, man. That was spot on. I mean, that's really what's happening. And it's like, now you see, like you see here, Indian oil tanker was allowed through because they paid in Chinese yuan.
Like, fam, the corporate media in the West have been lying to like their audience. They said, man, Iran is they're so crazy. They closed the Straits of Hormuz. And then the Iranian officials like, no, we didn't close the Straits of Hormuz. We closed it for your ass.
Yes.
We closed it for the dollar.
Yeah, it's more correct to say it's actually just gated, right? Yeah. And
now, not only they're allowing ships to pass through the Straits of Hormuz if you're not supporting the war with Iran, but now I read something earlier today. I got to find sourcing for you guys. You guys know I always like to provide sources. But one of the Iranian ministers explained how they're going to increase tariffs on everything that do pass through the Straits of Hormuz. And that's going to pay for the sanctions, Rathbone. That's going to pay for the U.S. sanctions going to be paid through via tariffs that U.S. allies are going to pay for. You have U.S. allies like India that are now paying more than they was for Russian oil. And now Russia is providing intelligence and targeting. So, fam, you know what happened? Iran checkmated the U.S. to the point where they got U.S. allies funding Iran war effort against the United States.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's really like there's a meme where it's like the U.S. is shooting itself in the face, and we're saying, "Take that, China," and China's just, okay. I mean, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. It's like Chairman Mao once said, so presciently, the United States is lifting a heavy stone only to drop it on their feet, and I think that we are our own worst enemy here.
This is another example of China doing nothing and winning.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
China and Russia is the big victor. Have you guys seen the Russia-gating liberals and how they've been coping over the fact that now there's this increased demand for now increased prices of Russian liquefied natural gas? You had the EU talking all this shit. Mm-hmm. Right? They're talking all this shit for the last 2 years. Man, we're gonna become energy independent from Russia. We're gonna wane ourselves off of Russian energy. Victor Orban, like, y'all niggas are crazy. I'm not doing that shit. Victor Orban, like Robert Pico, he was like, you niggas are crazy. But other than them, everyone in Europe, like, we're gonna deindustrialize ourselves. We're gonna increase the energy prices of our own people to stick it to Putin. And the U.S. is checkmated because the EU countries like, hey, yo, by the way, kind of need that Russian gas now. I've been talking about that shit, Rathbone.
It's ludicrous, man. I mean, we completely betrayed the European Union, and it's pretty humiliating to have Europe now, who's at war ostensibly with Russia, to now be pleading to Russia for their oil. So,
oh shit! Look at this article I just found. This is an update from a hotspot video I did before. People on my channel, I did a hotspot video explaining how the EU was begging Ukraine to allow Russian energy in after Ukrainian terrorists bombed a critical pipeline. And Rathbone, you want to know what the Europeans said? They said, well, we can't say the Ukrainians did it. It's possible that Russians bombed their own pipeline again.
They said
so in my hotspot video, you said what?
I said they said that about the Nord Stream too, right?
And that's the Ukrainian terrorism that the Europeans have been not only tolerating, but providing cover for, because they know the Ukrainians and the bomb Nord Stream. They know the Ukrainians. I'm I can find the name. I'm blanking on the exact name of this pipeline, but they knew Ukraine bombed that as well. But they were like, who knows? It's up in the air. The Russians bombed their own infrastructure, which doesn't even make sense because Putin, his position is he wants to sell gas to Europe. Yeah, so why would Russia bomb their own pipeline and hurt their own economies? So the update, while I'm sitting here, you see the headline here? So now the EU is dropping all pretext like, hey, Ukraine, we know you fucking did it, man. Can you just fix it? Like, we won't even go after you. Can you just fucking fix it? Because we know you fucking did it. Look, the EU offers to pay Ukraine to fix oil pipeline at the center of the Ukraine-Hungary feud. So this is an example. The reason I went down this little rabbit hole to show y'all Putin and Russia is the big victor. The Chinese yuan is about to see a massive surge. China is a big victor in this. And because of this leads to what I'm terrified for. This is what I mentioned earlier in the stream, where you had Netanyahu, who I think is smoked. Like, they lost a leader, Netanyahu. Tel Aviv is being wiped the fuck out to the point where they have a complete blackout. They don't want anyone to report. You can get sent to prison in Israel if you show evidence of Iran destroying their infrastructure, degrading them militarily. So Israel backed up in the corner, and we fear the sanction option, and we fear the genocidal cultists who are willing to plunge humanity into darkness to achieve their goal. And you guys see how Israel they attacked South Pars, and they are attacking Iran oil facilities in a massive escalation of this war. And now this is going to completely and utterly dismantle the energy markets. Look, and now there's a massive food crisis that will happen. You have this attack on this. I'm gonna read it. This is a great tweet that kind of sums it up better than I'm doing right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to read a little bit of this just so you guys realize what the hell just happened and how genocidal Israel is right now and how much they're panicking. So now they know they can't win. They know Iran has defeated the United States, not only geopolitically, but they're taking out aircraft carriers with cheap drones. So now Israel's in the point right now where they plan on sacrificing all of humanity for this shit. So I'll just read a little bit of this, and this terrifies me, Rathbone. So I celebrate the victories of the resistance, but it's come at great cost because these people are they're willing to flip the whole chess table over and doom humanity if Israel will ever at the verge of defeat. Look, let me just read a little bit of this now, and feel free to chime in anytime you want, Rathbone. Here. Israel just made the single most dangerous military decision of the entire war, and nobody understands what they just triggered. Israel and the United States struck South Pars, the largest gas field on the planet. But here's what I covered a few weeks ago where the Trump administration, or there was supposed leaks that you can take it with a grain of salt, but the leaks was claiming how the Trump administration was upset because Israel was attacking oil fields. And they were like, hey, man, we down to do some gangster shit too, but that's kind of destabilizing for humanity. Can you stop? Can you guys not do that? So that's according to leaks. You can take it with a grain of salt. Maybe they did for PR, et cetera, et cetera. But we know that Israel is willing to completely destroy the global economy. This will lead to massive famines, as I briefly covered in the tweet I put up earlier. Here's from Al Jazeera English. Experts say a parallel crisis to energy is looming, a considerable threat to global food security caused by the looming shortage of fertilizer essential for food production.
Yeah, I heard that Qatar actually supplies the world with something like 30% of the fertilizer. I think maybe for Europe, particular, it's a huge amount. I forget the percentage, but I've heard some experts say that this is going to lead to perhaps a famine in Europe if it keeps going on like this. Because they're not able to grow their crops, without the fertilizer.
Look, this is crazy. Once again, I gotta be careful what I show here.
Yeah.
In an incredible escalation, U.S. Israeli forces have attacked South Pars, man. And there are statements from Iranian officials that man, you gotta just cross a line we never come back from. Hey, by the way, humanity, we all about to pay for this because we're about to fuck up your oil fields. Now we got to attack critical infrastructure of the UAE and your allies. And now humanity is going to be plunged into darkness, and Israel gave us no option other than this. It's so bad that even the UAE, the puppets of Israel, like, bro, what the fuck is going on? So Israel is engaging in critical energy infrastructure terrorist attacks. They doing this because they're losing. That's
right.
what you do when you're losing. You have nothing else but terrorism. That's what the United States military does. When they lose this conflict geopolitically, like they have in every single major conflict in my lifetime and in my mother's lifetime. You guys lost Vietnam, Korea. You lost in the war on terror, lost in the Afghanistan war. The only thing you guys do is commit massive atrocities. And another atrocity they're doing, they're murdering the entire families of these Iranian leaders. You had Ali Larijani, who was a extremely popular national hero in Iran. The leading government official was assassinated because that's all they can do, Rathbone. They can just do high-profile assassinations. And by the way, for the Gen Z people who don't know the concept of international law because the wars they've been growing up under, do you guys know that assassinations of high-key political leaders was considered taboo? That was considered a line you didn't cross before. Now it's just normalized. Israel sucks. The IDF is getting snuffed out by Hezbollah on the battlefield. They get snuffed out on the battlefield whenever they got forced to engage with equally armed men. So they have the technology and they have the Mossad spying infrastructure where they can actually engage in high-level assassinations. Probably the only thing they're good at militarily. So they do that, and then they be like, oh, look, we win the war. You're not winning the war. You're just destabilizing the international order. So sorry for that rant, Rathbone. What's your thoughts?
And you killed 100 civilians plus, which isn't even reported in the West. And, you know, I'm guessing that those 100 civilians, I guess they weren't included on the list of people that Israelis and Americans wanted to liberate in Iran. No? But, you know, Larijani, I think he, in the Israeli government, the equivalent to Ari Larijani's position is Itamar Ben-Gvir. He's the national security minister. I think Larijani was the national security, supreme leader of that organization. I don't know what the official title was, but, you know, you can expect an eye for an eye. I'm pretty sure that Ben-Gvir has gotten roasted already. And we're just seeing a bunch of AI videos from him as well. Or maybe it's archival footage. But it kind of reminds me of the father that has to go give his daughter his daughter's going on her first date. And so they go to the door, and you know, the dad meets the date, and he basically says, whatever you do to my daughter tonight, I'm going to do to you. And so it's like Iran is the dad. He's like, you know, whatever you do to us, we are going to do that to you. And that's just Israel just shooting itself in the foot at its own expense. I don't know if that analogy completely works, but I think you get the idea.
I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Now there's a funeral of one of the United States soldiers, and they're saying that they're going to ban all security they're going to ban all footage, all pictures. They don't want you to see the dead Goy soldiers that are being smoked. And bro, Russian propaganda, Iranian propaganda they're going crazy, fam. Like they're putting out numbers that I'm not sure I believe. Like I saw some Russian source that said there are like 600, 800 U.S. soldiers dead, still being covered up. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not sure if I believe that. But what I do believe is that the numbers that they're telling you is not true. And they're still hiding a ton. There are a lot of soldiers' revolts that is reportedly going on right now because people are objecting against this war in Iran. And now that leads us to our first main story, Joe Kent. I want to get your thoughts on Joe Kent. You guys realize this is a bombshell story because Joe Kent essentially accused Donald Trump of treason. like our political system is so batshit crazy that you can say that you launched a destabilizing regional war on behalf of another genocidal apartheid state, and it doesn't even register that the head of national security just accused the president of massive treason. So this is the main story. I want to get your thoughts on this. This is Joe Kent, he was just on Tucker Carlson, and the Zionists are not handling that well. They said Kent was explaining how it was a state of Israel that forced our hands and got us involved in this war, and it doesn't serve United States national security interests. Rathbone, have you seen the story? What's your thoughts on the Joe Kent? I'm gonna show you guys some meltdowns from the Zionists who are not happy that they have a goy rejecting their war so publicly. This is a massive blow to the Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know too much about Joe Kent, but I've learned a bit about him since the story broke. Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of how, it's a sign of the times, much like how a mixed martial artist and a music teacher have completely done a 180 and are now political commentators, full time. That should be a sign of the times. Like, hey, we're becoming politically active. And from what I heard about Joe Kent, he was a staunch MAGA supporter, like Trump all the way. And for him to do what he's done is like I said, a sign that things are not going well.
Let me just say this before you guys start bitching at me. We all know that Joe Kent, and it's important to remember that Joe Kent is no hero because he's resigning after the Iran war because he publicly disavowed it beforehand, and because it's a massive embarrassment for the United States empire. But don't forget, Joe Kent, he didn't resign after Donald Trump continued the genocide in Gaza. Joe Kent, he didn't resign after Donald Trump kidnapped Nicolas Maduro and murdered over 100 Venezuelan public servants. So this is not a moral beacon of clarity, fam. Let's be clear on that. But this is a gigantic moment because have your national security advisor who ride and die with you openly rebuke the narrative coming from the administration. His tweet was viewed like 70 million fucking times. God knows what the number is now. I need to check. Bro, it was like 70 to 100 million views on this tweet. This tweet was seen around the world, fam. People around the world are talking. You think Russian state media is not having a field day with this? The internal revolts going on in the Trump administration, which led to meltdowns from people like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro and Sean Hannity. His meltdown. I can't subject you guys to that. I only watched like 2 minutes of his meltdown. I broke. I like, hell no, I can't watch this. But I'm gonna play this video so you guys can hear Joe Kent. We can take a quick break while this video play. It's about 3 minutes. I won't play the video all the way through, and then Rathbone, I want to get your thoughts because obviously I'm not going to play the whole Tucker Carlson interview,
right?
But this is very pressing and important international news. So I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna take a quick break while this plays, but we'll be right back. Sorry, I didn't know there was no. Let me fix the sound. The sound was working for me, so I'm sorry.
Well, I think
I wasn't looking at my bad, guys. I wasn't looking at the chat. That's a glitch. That's my bad. Let me fix this.
I think sometimes I have that problem too, because like I'll mute myself and then it will mute on the screen too.
Yeah, and I can't see the chat because I had it in big screen. So
I
it wasn't until I looked down my phone I saw the chat. So that's my bad. I'm sorry. My bad. Let me know the audio working. I should have been watching the chat because the audio is working on my end. The only way I would know if I sorry, my bad, guys. Let's play it now. My bad.
I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. How did you reach that conclusion?
I think this is key. I mean, this would be more challenging to explain had the Secretary of State, the President, and the Speaker of the House not come out and said that we conducted this attack at this time because the Israelis were about to do so. So that takes away the argument that there was an imminent threat, as in Iran was planning to attack us immediately. That just simply did not exist.
May I ask you to pause? Sure. And so I've heard people say that, and this just happened, but history has a way of getting rewritten in real time. And then you look back 10 or 15, 20, 25 years later, and no one seems to understand the things that you saw because they've been eliminated. Yeah. So I think it's important to stop and say, here's what we actually know. So I'd like now, if we could, just to play one of the statements that you alluded to, and that's from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. And this was shortly after this war commenced. And he was explaining as is his habit, in a thoughtful, precise way, why. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
Okay, so that is his almost contemporaneous explanation, and it's not offhand. He reasons it out. He explains there's a logic chain there, and he says, we knew not that Iran was going to attack. He did not say that.
Right.
He said we knew that Israel was going to attack Iran, and in retaliation for those attacks by Israel against Iran, Iran might attack American forces. So the imminent threat that the Secretary of State is describing is not from Iran, it's from Israel.
Exactly. And I think this speaks to the broader issue. Who is in charge of our policy in the Middle East? Who is in charge of when we decide to go to war or not? In this case, with what the Secretary described, and later on the President, later on the Speaker of the House, and the way the events played out, the Israelis drove the decision to take this action, which we knew would set off a series of events, meaning the Iranians would retaliate. Now, I think there's a potential there where we could have done several different things. We could have simply said to the Israelis, no, you will not. And if you do, then we will take something away from you. I think that it's fine that we offer defense to Israel, but when we're providing the means for their defense, we get to dictate the terms of when they go on the offensive. Otherwise, they stand to lose that relationship. And the Israelis felt emboldened that no matter what they did, no matter what situation they put us in, that they could go ahead and take this action, and we would just have to react.
So, Rathbone, this is Donald Trump's national security advisor or intelligence advisor or whatever.
It's the counterterrorism.
Counterterrorism, accusing accusing his boss of treason. Like in any rational society, this is treason. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think he, made some obviously very good points about it was Israel's war to fight and there was no imminent threat. But I still just wonder about the timing, because it's 3 weeks into this war, or, at least it's about 3 weeks. And he's, like we said, the head of the counterterrorism agency. I wonder if he knew where this was leading to. I mean, we knew in the recent days that, the United States, it seemed like everybody was waiting for this false flag that was supposed to happen. The FBI releases this phony report about California possibly being attacked by Iran. Is completely bogus. And I just wonder if he's like, oh, if there's going to be some sort of 9/11 false flag that my government's doing, I'm the director of the counterterrorism unit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I need to distance myself. I just, you could, just for all the reasons that you just brought up, he didn't renege on Venezuela and all these other crimes that the president was doing. So What was it? What was the straw that broke the camel's back? I mean, war with Iran is pretty big, but why didn't he just resign that day?
That's
I don't know.
Fantastic point, brother. That's a fantastic point. There's so many different layers you can analyze it. That's why it's a bombshell story. Even though, as I mentioned before, Joe Kent is not a hero. He's a Christian Zionist.
And I think that's why I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think I think that's why it gives a lot of weight to what he's doing, because he is completely dyed in the wool, a MAGA neocon imperialist,
And despite the fact that this man is a Christian Zionist, you have the liberal corporate media that is melting down and straight up defaming him.
They're calling him a liberal. They're saying, oh, well, he's just, a Democratic shill, even though it's like not at all his track record,
It's funny the different angles the Zionists are attacking him from, because the Fox News crowd is saying he's a secret liberal. Meanwhile, Democrats and MSNBC, they're saying he's a white nationalist. They're like, he's a white nationalist akin to Nick Fuentes. And fam, this is just one example. This is one I found. Where you have the Zionists who control, because the Zionists are fucking furious, Rathbone, bro. They are seething hot after this, because his Resignation tweet alone was seen by 70+ million people. And the number is way more than that, because that was like as of last night. God knows what that number is now.
Right.
So immediately Laura Loomer, she went on the attack. Mark Levin, he went on. But can you guys imagine the meltdown on Zionist Twitter? It was overwhelming. I can only imagine the kind of death threats this guy got.
Yeah.
He been attacked from the right. He been attacked by the president. He been attacked and thrown in the bus by his own friends on the Trump staff. And here's how MSNBC is going after him, because the entirety of the Zionist-controlled media is furious at him blowing the whistle and being concerned of the United States soldiers dying for another war for Israel, which was one of his chief concerns, if you read a letter.
But Joe Kent also has a history of very close flirtation and association with figures in the white nationalist movement, like Nick Fuentes, the Proud Boys, Tucker Carlson, who very much making these sort of allegations all the time, regardless of whether they have merit.
So making the allegations that Israel is controlling our foreign policy, if you do that, you're a white nationalist. And he straight up lies. So once again, this guy is not a sweet angel. He's not innocent. But the idea that Joe Kent is aligned with Nick Fuentes, you guys see how he's just making shit up?
Right.
And obviously, guys, he's obviously on the right. I'm obviously disagree with that. I don't have to be a fucking child and remind you guys of that. But there's a difference between a MAGA neocon Christian Zionist like Joe Kent and a Nick Fuentes. Here's a tweet from 2022 where Joe Kent strongly disavows Nick Fuentes. So here's Joe Kent. My opponents are spreading lies about me. I strongly condemn Nick Fuentes' politics, especially regards to our ally Israel. So they're willing to smear a Christian Zionist, and the first thing they do, Rathbone, you see what they do? The first thing they do, if you're on the right and you are against the state of Israel, you're a Nazi, you're a Christian, you're a Christian nationalist fascist. And if you're black or brown like me, they say you're the terrorist enabler, you're a terrorist yourself. These are the different ways they handle criticism. Rathbone, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, going back to that CNN pundit who whatever, you could make the case that Donald Trump had a connection with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson.
Exactly.
I mean, these were both MAGA supporters early on. I think it's also just, it just shows you that fissure, that fraction that's happening in the MAGA movement, the Israel firsters and the America firsters. This guy, I don't know much about him, but it seems like he was an Israel firster up until a certain point. So
he was one of those Israel first people who was also trying to pretend he was anti-war. So he didn't have no problem with the genocide in Gaza, but he was saying early on, like, why we shouldn't go with war with Iran. I seen a clip of him on Tucker Carlson years ago where he said, hey, this is why I don't think we should go to war with Iran. And they're using that to smear Tucker and himself, essentially any right-winger who's against the war with Iran, as some sort of white nationalist, Christian nationalist thug. Here's the clip again. I clipped this one, and this is a short 24 seconds, But if you watch CNN, MSNBC, they're repeating essentially this ad nauseum. I'll play it one more time. It's a short clip.
But Joe Kent also has a history of very close flirtation and association with figures in the white nationalist movement like Nick Fuentes, the Proud Boys, Tucker Carlson, who are very much making these sort of allegations all the time, regardless of whether they have merit.
So the first thing that liberals did in the media after Joe Kent, a decorated veteran, came out and speak out against the war in Iran, they say, "God, you got to smear his character.
Yeah.
Smear his character."
Yeah. The liberals are saying that he's a. Sorry,
go ahead.
The liberals like this guy are trying to paint him as a right winger white nationalist, and meanwhile the white nationalists are trying to paint this guy as a liberal. I mean, they're all pointing at each other. It's like the Spider-Man meme.
Once again, like it's just so dishonest because he disavowed Nick Fuentes. So you gotta ask yourself, what is this about? Is it about real substantive critiques? Like the one I gave him a critique. Like this is not a rah Joe Kent segment. I just told you guys he's a Christian Zionist who his hands are not clean. But why are they lying about him? Why are they saying he connected to Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, another way you could put it is that an Israeli Israel First or neocon, who is the director of the counterterrorism agency for the United States government, resigns because he's accusing essentially Trump of terrorism.
Yeah, and you want to know what else they was doing in corporate media? And I'll release these tweets because I'm summing up to my audience what I'm seeing when I'm torturing myself watching these segments. Because if I was an ordinary civilian, I wouldn't put myself through this shit. But this is what I do professionally. So I watch what our enemies say, and I report to the comrades what our enemies say. And so you don't have to. If you're a busy mother, if you're working 50 hours a week, I'm here to do it so you don't have to do it. And after watching so many of these segments, you know how many times they left out the part about him criticizing this war being started on behalf of Israel? So look at the quote that CNN was reporting on. What did they leave out here, fam? What did they leave out when Joe Kent was talking about why the United States made this decision with Tucker Carlson? I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people, nor justify the cost of American lives. So this is the quote that CNN picked out. Why did they cut out the criticism of Israel? And this is my reporting. I said CNN and corporate media are completely leaving out the part where Joe Kent said U.S. soldiers are dying fighting a war for Israel. Because this is the full quote. Which he explained how he lost his beloved wife, Shannon, in a war manufactured by Israel. The implication is he don't want to see that happen again.
It's personal for him.
Rathbone, corporate media, they are even hiding his true intentions from the liberal audience, so they don't get outraged on that behalf. You want to know who's absolutely butt mad furious about this? Jake Tapper.
Oh,
Jake Tapper, CNN host, retweeting a bunch of hate tweets about Joe Kent. This is what Jake Tapper retweeted. Supposed to be neutral news host.
That's crazy. What in the fuck is going on?
It is crazy.
Jake Tapper's manufacturing consent for Donald Trump and his war of aggression.
The United States corporate media is infested with war-loving Jewish supremacists. That's one of my bangers I put out there. Because Jake Tapper was retweeting all the Republicans bashing him. Like you can tell Jake Tapper was fucking furious. How dare you say Americans shouldn't die for Israel? Get in the dang goy box, motherfucker. Dude, bro, you can tell he's fucking furious watching this. Look, this is the tweet he retweeted. Good riddance. Iran had murdered more than 1,000 Americans. So you see how Jake Tapper, in order to be a CNN host, you got to be raw war. War with Iran.
I think if we step back, we're seeing literally the erosion of nationalism and patriotism and giving way, the facade of nationalism, I should say, giving way to what is actually critically what, the power dynamic that's going on. It's, because there's no real such thing. When you say United States, Israel, Ukraine, it's like, we're really talking about that supranational shadow cabal of the Epstein regime. You know, it belies, it transcends all ideas of or concepts of nationalism.
So, am I anti-Semitic if I say that the CNN and these corporate media outlets are ran by Jewish supremacists?
No, but
Jake Tapper, he would condemn Christian nationalism, Rathbone.
Yeah.
Like, why do liberals condemn Christian nationalism?
I'll never understand.
When they support Christian Zionism, when Zionism is a Jewish genocidal national movement.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense because I thought this country was founded on the idea of the separation of church and state. We're supposed to be this pluralistic, democratic, liberal society. And, you know, religion doesn't have really any power in politics. And yet we support just wholesale, uncritically, the only religious theocracy in the world, the state of Israel.
And I could do this all day, but we still got to cover. I'm gonna cover the. I'm gonna do what I don't do often. I'm gonna cover the elections because I think there's an important lesson to be had. If you don't know, quick preview: AIPAC just completely washed the progressives once again.
Yeah,
but we get to that here very soon. Liberal corporate media, and I haven't even monitored the right wing reaction to this. That because it's just been this. I've been eating that well on this story. I've been eating good after this story came out, fam. Bro, liberal Zionist media are freaking the fuck out over this resignation because remember, these people are institutionalists above anything else.
Right.
All these Zionists in the core media, they worship and they value institutions. So to have this guy who was, I think, head of national intelligence security, some bullshit, to have him come out and speak out against this war is extremely devastating for them. So they're releasing these bullshit articles. Look at this from Vox. Anti-war, anti-Semitism. The first time I ever heard that term before, they just making up shit.
I think we should change the name of Vox to Jocks or Zox. J or Z, I don't know.
Anti-war, anti-Semitism is still anti-Semitism.
Anti-war, anti-Semitism is still anti-Semitism. But I liked your response.
Yeah, this is probably one of my most cherished ratios.
Yeah.
Look at that fucking ratio. I'm very proud of this one. Very proud of this one.
That's a big time ratio right there. Nobody gives a fuck about anti-Semitism anymore.
Old school reviews of this. People who watch my channel for a while who follow my work. Do you guys remember when the left used to get mad at me watching section like this? Bro, the left used to get mad at me, Rathbone. I'm like, bro, why are you guys buying this anti-Semitism bullshit? The Palestinians are Semitic people. Man.
Yeah.
The Palestinians are Semitic people, dipshits. You guys are complaining that we are upset over the foreign policy of a bunch of Polish motherfuckers. Talking about you, man. So, bro, you know how fucking pissed off I was watching the left fall for this shit? And now the tide is turning, fam. Like the same people who used to get mad at me for saying this, like, oh shit, Nick, you was right, bro. I know people like Nick, you was right about this bullshit. And this is my ratio. Good thing no one gives a fuck about anti-Semitism no more.
Tankies
we shouldn't even accept it as a concept. Go ahead, Rathbone.
I was just going to say, tankies always carry the burden of being right.
The burden of being right is just simply overwhelming. Just simply overwhelming. But the whole idea of us legitimizing the anti-Semitism hoax, after what we've seen happen in Australia, they arrest this little small, maybe 115-pound 19-year-old girl, and they're about to send her for prison for 2 years because she's a hardcore terrorist threatening the streets of Australia because she wore a shirt that said "From the River to the Sea." So we had to make sure the streets stay safe, Rathbone, and get her out there. They charging little old grandmas. There's an old man who is deaf that being charged as a vicious terrorist for supporting Palestine action. After seeing what happened in Europe and the Zionist-controlled government in Australia, the left should have no tolerance for this obvious attempt to implement fascism. That's why. And it's all projection because they accuse.
Oh my God, this bitch, the Israeli centrist.
Everything they accuse us of and their enemies of is pure projection. So they accuse us of hating the Jews. Bro, I've never seen anyone in my life like Eric Cartman. Like, I've never seen anyone. I'm around the most radical mother. If anyone was seen like a left Eric Cartman, it will be me. I'm surrounded by Palestinians. I'm surrounded by people who are victims of Jew crimes. Meanwhile, I never ever seen people like, yo, the fucking Jews, man, the fucking Jews. No, it's always been a systemic analysis of why synagogues are systemically supporting the genocidal state of Israel. That's it. That's it. That's always been. So anyone on the left who is legitimizing this, including the people we're about to talk about later, the Zohar Mamdani left, who, because they value power within this corrupt capitalist system, they legitimize fascism and say, oh yeah, I think there's an anti-Semitism crisis. Hey, look at me, I'm Zohar Mamdani the cuck. I'm gonna spend resources in the NYPD, go after my own supporters, target them from anti-Semitism. And the reason why they do this is because the Zionists, I'm kind of ranting here. Let me make my point. The Zionists themselves, they accuse us of being anti-Semitic. They have rallies where they chant death to Arabs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And let me play the video of this person. Here's an average Israeli. This is your average Israeli soccer mom.
ממוקמת שמאל או ימין?
אמצע.
מה זה ניצחון בעיניי?
למחוק אותם?
שתי מדינות לשני עמים.
פצצת אטום, כדי שנחיה.
אפשר לחיות עם ערביי ישראל?
לא, ערבי טוב זה ערבי.
She says a good Arab is a dead Arab.
I mean,
do you think she made that bar up herself, Rathbone? No, I think
I wonder where she got that from. Could it have been years and decades of indoctrination? We have to at least pat her on the back for her decency. She only wanted to drop one bomb. It was a tactical nuke. So, that's the idea of centrism for Israel.
Rathbone, you crack me up, man. You guys know that they're having secret Jew meetings to discuss how to implement fascism.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine if a few years ago you say there was this secret cabal of Jewish elites who meet and discuss game plans to crack down on free speech? Can you imagine what kind of anti-Semite they would call you, Rathbone? And before y'all fucking start, I'm just reading this headline. What did this headline say? How are we supposed to react to this news of Jewish elites meeting to game plan their fascist strategies? They're doing it out in the open. And then if anyone noticed it, Rathbone, they call you anti-Semite, and people go along with this shit. Have you guys seen this? Look, World Jewish Congress, ADL, gathered Jewish leaders in New York amid anti-Semitism scourge, and they plan on combating it. And their ongoing efforts to let me read a subheadline. According to the World Jewish Congress, the discussion focused on the global rise of anti-Semitism, ongoing efforts to counter it. What do you mean by counter it? What does that entail? And the need to broader coordination among Jewish organizations and Jewish leaders. So, Rathbone, so essentially what they're saying is that they need a massive conspiracy of Jewish leaders who...
Yeah, what is a Jewish leader? What does that mean? I don't understand.
What does that mean? Are you elected?
What does it mean to be a Jewish leader?
Is Max Blumenthal a Jewish leader? Does Katie Halper talk?
Obfuscation. That's such a lie. Like, what are they really saying? Everything's just couched in this Jew this, Jew that, Jewish leaders, Jewish organizations. It's all propaganda. World Jewish Congress, and then it's like, oh, you can't say world Jewry. That's that phrase. No, it's taboo. But yeah, no, the World Jewish Congress is convening Jewish leaders to combat the scourge of anti-Semitism.
To dislike certain ethnicities is racist. To see Jews as equal is anti-Semitic.
I remember that headline. How do they not have any self-awareness?
This is a hood certified classic right here, bro. This is
it's one of those for the ages, man.
So I was just looking at some of the replies. I didn't get a chance to read some of the replies that I love Anthony Potter, my S community. They always post great stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff you guys. People be sending me all this cool shit. That's the best part about what I do. I get all this cool shit sent to me. Oh, I get all these cool replies. We all know about how they use anti-Semitism as a treat. This is why I don't legitimize this bullshit. So, excuse me, I was just.
Yep.
I don't think I can even read this. This is the meme without being
Mark Levin.
Okay, Jews, how can we stop literally everyone from hating us? No free speech. Mark Levin, stop saying gay, retarded, satanic. All right, bro. Our people wilding. Our people wilding. So
The third
you guys
guy
know.
had a point. That third guy was spitting.
Yeah, he was spitting. He's a true hero. He's a true hero. You guys know that they are establishing European Jew police?
What?
Like, if we oppose this, are we anti-Semitic? If we like, hey man, I don't think there should be a secret police for one ethnic community. Is that me being a radical extremist? Look at this. Belgium to deploy soldiers to help protect Jewish sites as Iran war fuels surge of anti-Semitism.
I've got the perfect name for this Belgium fleet, this Belgium battalion. Wait, I just lost it. Oh my God. I'm buckling under the pressure. How about Gestapo?
Gestapo. So, for one, I don't even like this premise where they say there's this rise of anti-Semitism. In Europe, they are paying increased energy prices. And they see their local synagogue supporting this war with Iran. Imagine you see your energy costs skyrocket. Imagine you see the economy in shambles, and you see your local synagogue and Jewish leaders cheer this one, and you're like, "Hey man, what the fuck? Hey man, can you guys stop doing that? Maybe we should protest them. Maybe we should protest that synagogue over there."
Oh,
you know, the synagogue who support murdering school children. Maybe we should have a protest there. And then you organize a protest at this synagogue supporting this war that economically ruining your community. So this protest, which is your legal right to engage in, it pops off. And then they write an article about how there's this anti-Semitic attack at synagogue. Because you're like, hey, man, I think it's fucked up that you're supporting this war that is destabilizing the entire region. That's their definition of anti-Semitism.
No, their definition of anti-Semitism is driving down the road and seeing a free parking sign, and they get triggered because they think it said "Free Palestine." Because the Jews are tired, guys. They're tired.
Oh my God.
They're tired of this. This is their reality. You know, when they go to the DMV, they have to wait in line like the rest of the goy cattle. Did you see that clip also? There was a clip of this Jewish guy who had to go to the DMV, and he's just outraged that he's sitting in a room with all these goyim. It's pretty hilarious.
It made him sick. It probably made him sick.
But yeah, revoking their special privileges and having them be seen as equal, like that headline said, that's the anti-Semitism we're talking about.
One of my funny ass mutuals sent me this. I don't use GPT. I'm too old for that shit. One of my friends sent me this. I'm like, this shit is hilarious. This is how
you're too principled. That's what it is. You're too principled to use ChatGPT.
Yeah, let's go with that. It made me feel a little better. Let's go with that one. So this is how absurd the anti-Semitism hoax is becoming right now. Where if you add ChatGPT, if Israel is being secretly controlled by the Jews, they say no. This idea comes from an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. So saying Jews run Israel is anti-Semitic.
It's literally the one and only Jewish state, self-described by the Jays.
Dude, I'm fucking dying, bro.
I mean, I don't know why we even bother asking these large language models for any information that's accurate. It's all political. All information is weaponized.
Dude, I'm probably on the timeout. I'm fucking dying, bro. This is so fucking funny. Dude, this is why I told people AI is fucking garbage, and this is the lesson you're supposed to take from this shit post. AI is designed to repeat the talking points of the ruling class.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe you guys can use it for math and science formulas, but if anyone who's actually just talking with AI to get a legitimate viewpoint of the world, you are fucking absurd. You are top level goy cattle.
It's like ChatGPT might be good to like say, hey, what's the weather like outside? Like, what's the temperature? And I'm sure they could pull up, what it. But asking geopolitical complex, events and what their take is on it, no, you got to be a mental midget.
Yeah, that shit probably great for math, bro. I wish we had that shit when I was in college. You guys know I'm a college dropout, bro. I was in calculus 3 dying, bro. I was like, bro, what the fuck? I studied computer science.
A calculus class, so the fact that you got to calculus 3 is actually,
dude, that shit was so stupid, bro. They had all these fucking letters everywhere. all these complicated
Wait a
formulas. Like,
second. This is math. There's supposed to be numbers. Why are there letters here?
I was always good at math. That's why I tried to get a degree in computer science, which I'm glad I didn't waste my time because that degree is fucking trash now.
Yeah.
Like computer science when I graduated high school was like the top shit, right? So I was like, all right, let me go to computer science because I'm good at math. And then they added all this calculus 3 shit. I was like, bro, what is this? They have all these not even ordinary letters, but these weird algorithms. I don't know. It was bullshit. I wish I had Chat GPT back then. That's for sure.
Is that why you started to beat people up for a living? You were like, fuck this.
Bro, my fucking late teens, early 20s is fucking crazy. I was in school. I was working. that's when I was coaching part-time as well. I was doing these community boxing classes. Man, I was like, bro, I had too much on my plate. Back then.
Yeah.
Then I started selling cars after that. And I'm like, bro, I should have stole cars in the first place. Going to college was a waste of damn time. I wasn't good at selling cars. That was the most money I made. Then I got into politics. God knows why. God knows why I did that. Anyway, let's get to our last story today. This don't have to be that long. This will be our last one. I'm gonna cover something I don't cover that often: electoral politics. The squad, the new members, there was this myth that Democrat voters were starting to reject AIPAC, and there was this myth that and progressives are delusional. Like they have this infantile view of what a Democratic Party voter is. They ignore the fact that the Democratic Party is full of racial mad owls, people who they despise the working class. They despise the concept of a peace candidate. Why do you guys think they did everything they can to organize to defeat and shut down Bernie Sanders? The Democratic Party is a capitalist party ran by Zionists, and they will never allow you to take it over. The amount of money and resources that working class people have wasted on this project it makes my head spin. Like the Bernie campaign alone is like $400 million. Then count all the squad congressional races. Imagine the kind of mutual aid we could be funding. Imagine if we send Palestinians in Gaza that money. Like imagine we spend this money on strike funds. Like there's true revolutionary activities that we could be spending with the countless amount of cash that we wasted on these progressives, and they just keep doing the same shit and losing. Zoran Mamdani, that shit, I explained before, the reason why they allowed Zoran to win is because they keeping you guys on a string. They had to give you guys something. Yeah. Like, you guys took so many L's over the last few years. You guys lost fucking Cory Bush. You lost Jamal Bowman. The argument for taking over the Democratic Party was becoming dumber every single day. So they gave you a win. They let the son of someone who's in the Epstein files win. They let a Muslim Zionist win because they keep on a string. But around in nationwide elections, the Democrats are still doing everything they can to crush these progressives, and they being astoundingly successful at it. Like the squad left suffered complete wipeout in Illinois. Great use of resources, guys. So you guys realize that even if we're building a third party, even if a third party loses, at least we are building infrastructure in the process. We are building a movement that will continue to grow. What happens when these Democrats start these career ambition strategies and run to office? Once they lose, like, oh, woe is me. I guess we got to endorse the neocon centrists because we got to defeat the Republicans. There's no revolutionary building. There's nothing that is advancing from the working class. So you guys are wasting resources, running these ridiculous races, and AIPAC is bragging about the fact that they're packing these Democrats up. Look, 6 up, 6 down. A great night for the pro-Israel community and a terrible night for anti-Israel candidates. Tonight's results tell a critical story, centering campaigns on attacking Israel and demonizing pro-Israel Americans is a losing strategy. So the reason why I'm covering this and the reason why I always bring this shit up is because what do these motherfuckers tell us? You know, the people with revolutionary optimism, they say, guys, we can't support a third party because the third party will never win. Say the same people getting washed by AIPAC every damn election. So Rathbone, we'll be our last segment. We don't be on it too long, but what's your thoughts about AIPAC getting another W?
Well, I wonder if they, funded the people that they claimed that they were opposing too. I mean, this candidate, Kat Abughazaleh, whatever her name is, I was hoping you would talk more about her, because it reminds me of. We hated her too. I mean, it's like probably the only time that the Zionists and anti-Zionists agree that this bitch sucks, because I think of it as like the arm wrestling meme. It's like Zionists, anti-Zionists. It's like defeat Kat Abughazaleh, because she's a NATO war hawk. I mean, she's a Zionist in my estimation, despite her rhetoric about Palestine. If she's promoting this imperial agenda, then she's part of that tapestry. So I was glad that she lost.
Dude, the
gay
left,
marriage is non-negotiable with the NATO F-fighter jets.
This is the people who are supporting her, the Lockheed leftists,
the Lockheed liberals.
There's this new strategy that the Democratic Party has to push and normalize imperialist policies among the left. That is to get some young Gen Z aspiring John Bolton type to say free Palestine, even though you condemn the people fighting to free it. Because she said, under no conditions should Hamas be left to govern the Gaza Strip. Like, she's one of those anti-Hamas people. So free Palestine, but she hates the people who fight to free it.
Right.
So their strategy is to have someone say free Palestine, but then repeat neocon and imperialist talking points on everything else, because they see how popular pretending to support Palestine is. So that's the way they launder imperialism on the left. Let's use the issue of Palestine and then say, oh, this is why we got to support the Nazis in Ukraine.
I had no idea that she said that, the free Hamas from Palestine, but that makes so much. That's an Israeli position. That's what Israelis say.
Yeah, that's one of her positions. She said Hamas can never be allowed to govern the Gaza Strip. And people thought she was the anti-Israel candidate. Like, bro, you guys see the fucking game they play? AIPAC legitimized that by having a fucking temper tantrum at her because no dissent is allowed. So people think that she is based because AIPAC attacks her. So they don't do their due diligence.
Yeah, exactly.
They say that with Zohar Mamdani. When people thought that Zohar Mamdani was centering Palestinian voices, he never centered Palestinian voices. That his campaign had nothing to do with that. He was running away from that issue every step of the way. But people see the Zionists freak out about them, and then they project their views on Palestine onto these candidates. Yeah, so if you're condemning Hamas and the resistance, you are effectively a Zionist. And in this situation, you're worse because you're a Muslim Zionist. You're a Palestinian Zionist. I say Palestinian Zionist because I don't know her religious faith.
Yeah.
But you're what these
she's
people
got
who
Middle Eastern
Hamas,
heritage, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. I think she's like a Palestinian. That's what made it even worse. That's why my
But I think you're right. Like I feel like it's controlled opposition. I mean, that's a tactic of the ruling class, is to always feign like, oh, this candidate just is a complete utter mortal enemy, but secretly they're like hand rubbing intensifies. They're like, yeah, like let's, that's the same thing with the Overton window. Trump likes to paint any Democratic opposition as like some extreme Marxist radical. I think, but secretly, that they want these weak, ineffectual liberal opposers so that they can steamroll them. And I think that she was serving that role.
Look, this is what her supporters were saying, because she had to dump progressives like the majority report, Emma Vigeland supporting her, but she had a large amount of people who part of neocon glow Twitter who support her. Do you guys know that? Because they saw her comments about Taiwan.
Yeah,
they saw her comments about Ukraine. So there was a bunch of these Banderites, neoliberals who were supporting her. Look how delusional her supporters are. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Kat is the worst enemy of Hassan Piker and all the cringe Reddit tankies you ever met. For one, you guys see how delusional this person is, because Hassan Piker laundered her imperialism on his own audience. Hassan Piker is a vote blue. Yeah, he's a Democrat op. He was one of the biggest cheerleaders of Kat, despite the fact that she's a NATO leftist. But you guys see how deranged this person is, that he thinks Hassan Piker is like the radical left. But anyway, let me continue. apparently she's the enemy of Sam Piker and people like me because she's pro-Taiwan. And her quotes on Taiwan was so insane because she was like, yeah, I support strategic ambiguity, and I actually believe that we need to arm Taiwan more to support this self-determination. I'm like, okay, so you guys are essentially supporting pro-China hawks. Her position was identical to John Bolton.
Well, I sorry to interrupt, but when you say pro-Taiwan, what does that mean? That really means that what would be really ostensibly, truly pro-Taiwan would be anti-American intervention. That would be pro-Taiwan because we're not trying to intervene in the national integrity of what is considered the China One policy, that Taiwan belongs to China.
So this is the prominent NATO leftist. So like a lot of people who follow me like, Nick, what do you mean NATO leftist? Like, I'm talking about these people. The Bernie Sanders, AOC types, the Ilhan Omars. I see people praise Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib to this day. I see people praise Rashid Tlaib to this day. It's crazy. You gotta know Rashid Tlaib support NATO. She supporting Nazis in Ukraine. That to me is a red flag. Mm-hmm. That is beyond the pale. And the NATO leftists, they keep doing this thing where they expect us to be okay with them supporting an imperialist structure. You gotta know what Mark Rutte just recently said. They openly admit this stuff, Rathbone. Mark Rutte says that NATO is an institution meant to project United States power on the world stage. These are what people in NATO say. NATO is not a defensive alliance. It's a tool of United States imperialism.
Yeah.
So when you see people like Ilhan Omar and this Catwoman and all these progressives support NATO, that is a red line. You are supporting neoliberal. No, not even neoliberal. You are supporting Nazism. Because if any one of these NATO leftists want to fight you on this, which they tried to fight me on this, ask them why Ro Khanna deleted this tweet where they used to openly talk about how we funded neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Like ever since the Orange Revolution began under President Bush, U.S. has been complicit in the rehabilitation and spread of neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Enough is enough. Our government must stand up to the Azov Battalion and other fascist group. And then he deleted it. You guys see the day he deleted it? He deleted it March 2022. So he got the orders, Rathbone. And then ever since then, every single progressive politician are supportive of neo-Nazis in Ukraine. And we know due to hotspot videos I covered how Putin actually saved these Ukrainian children from the Epstein regime who plan on, because Ukraine is the hotspot of a child sex trafficking. They plan to kidnap these women, these girls, and sell them off to sex trafficking. But Putin saved them. But anyway, Rathbone, we can be on. Any last thoughts on this? I laugh at whenever these NATO leftists lose because you're an agent of imperialism. We got to make this like we can't just be okay with people in left spaces supporting imperialist projects. And that's the new goal of the NATO squad, to say free Palestine, try to lure you in with that while supporting NATO and neo-Nazism among left ranks. Anyway, Rathbone, I'll talk to him. Any final thoughts?
Just, the fact that I just see these kinds of things, and I think we're seeing one event on the surface. We're seeing a tweet, or we're seeing this politician say that. And for every one of those surface events, there's all these unseen events that are behind. And so you have to like put it all together. And I think everything that we see from these politicians just reinforces the main idea that it's, our government has been captured by the Zionist lobby. And like you said, like this guy just deletes the tweet. He speaks, very objectively and factually, and then he gets the call. Shalom Osteen says you got to shut it down. So that's the world we live in.
These shows are always a blast to do, Rathbone. It's always great. I appreciate you sticking in with me. I know I can be really ranty at times. There's a lot of cover. Yeah, there's a lot of cover.
I like that I don't have to talk as much. You're saying You're spitting. I'm just like, let the guy cook. But
Yeah,
thank you for having me on, as always, Nick. And I encourage those of you in my stream to follow Nick Cruse on YouTube. What is it? Your third page? I think you're on now. It's
yeah,
a
we
new
trying to
page.
build this one up.
Yeah, we've been building it up. So you got to follow Nick. He does great work. You can see absolutely concise and just razor sharp edge for the political takes. So
yeah,
thank
and
you for having me.
I'm trying to hit 10K on the channel. It's a grind for my friends. So make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, Nick Cruse. But also make sure you subscribe to the RBN channel. I know we haven't been live on that channel for a while, but we have plans. We have plans. I essentially told Rome, that's your channel now. Like we have 2 main RBN channels now. Is this channel and then the RBN main channel. We're gonna bring Nick and Rome on that channel, and we're also gonna have we're trying to bring new RBN members on, but we're gonna do a lot of vetting. We're gonna have like RBN Productions on that YouTube channel. So that YouTube channel haven't been posted in a while on the RBN channel, but we got plans for it. We haven't abandoned it yet. So make sure you guys stay subscribed to that one. Subscribe to my RBN page, and make sure you guys check me out on Nick Cruse. This be my main channel for now, but we got a lot of projects planned in the future for the RBN page. RBN is not dead. We still got a lot. We still got a lot of fight in us. Let me read a few super chats when we get out here, Rathbone. Once again, I had a great time as I always do. We may have a bye next week, but I think we can do like 2 on, 1 off.
Yeah.
2 on, 1 off. I love this new show. Season two of Nick and Rathbone show. Second episode. Let me just read a few super chats I've seen on both our channels here.
Sure.
Veronica Laverio, thank you for the super sticker and the support. This is 6-pack for me. Joe Kent is a psyop. The U.S. needs better psyops. Once again, he's not a hero, but it is a very significant story to have someone so close to Trump and with so much power just openly say that the president's committed treason. So you guys know I'm not about hero worshiping and
dude, I pay way too much money to my government for these psyops. Okay, they need to be better. I want to see more production. Let's step it up.
Last 2 chats I've seen here. Zelensky tried to be a puppet, and Trump said, "Fuck off." Well, I don't want to go too long on this, obviously, but Trump has been like Mark Rutte and NATO love Trump. Trump has been helping their war in Ukraine every step of the way. I don't want people to think that he abandoned Zelensky, but the people who have a lot of explaining to do, or the people who have like you guys see the people with the Ukraine flag and Palestine flag. These are like the dumbest people in geopolitics. Like the people with, I stand with Ukraine, I stand with Palestine.
Yeah.
If you don't know, by the way, if you're gonna use that comparison, if you're like, I stand with Ukraine, I stand with Palestine. No, you're supposed to stand with the ethnic Russians and the Donbass dipshit. Because exactly. You realize that Zelensky in Ukraine is the Israel in this situation, right? You understand that. There's so many people that don't even understand this basic point. Because Ukraine, the Zelensky government, was receiving military equipment and bombs from the first Trump regime. And what they use those bombs to do? They use those bombs to shell ethnic Russians in the Donbass, which led to around 14,000 deaths before Russia's special military operation. So the ethnic Russians in the Donbass and Luhansk who want to have their own independent state voted via referendum. They want to be an independent state with close ties to Russia. You want to know who denied them the sovereignty, Rathbone? The Ukrainian government. So the Ukrainian government is Israel in this position, denying the right to sovereignty to the Palestinians. The ethnic Russians in Ukraine are the Palestinians. And Russia is kind of like Iran. It's kind of like Hezbollah. Mm-hmm. They're the resistance trying to free their Palestinian. Freeing their ethnic Russian brothers and sisters from the fascist Ukrainian regime who banned the Russian language. They banned the right to collective bargaining right. They was implementing fascism on the population who was fans of the Soviet Union and of socialism. That's why they wanted to leave Ukraine. That's why they wanted to join Russia. That's why Russia is liberating the ethnic Russians in the Donbass. This short explanation, well, not short, but that explanation is why people who have Ukraine flag, Palestine flag, profile pictures, they have no idea about geopolitics. They have no idea what they're talking about. And if anyone have those flag combinations, you know they are fucking op, fed, or moron at best. So,
and the free Ukraine, like where are these people in 2014? That's Ukraine's been occupied for
Exactly.
over a decade now. You only seem to care in 2022. So
all right, I need to wrap up. I'll read 3 more chats here. I told you guys I'm a randy motherfucker. If y'all on Rathbone, you guys do not realize it. I can talk. Thank you for a super sticker. But thank you for 499 Joseph. Last super chat I seen. How can I become an RBN member? RBN is exclusively a communist organization, open to all races now. So if you're a communist, we're gonna have people apply via email. We're gonna have like rigorous vetting, and people who follow RBN know why. Like no more revolutionary adventurism, no more RBN liberalism. We need theory reading, disciplined communists. If you're one of those, we're gonna eventually set up a way for you guys to apply. We're gonna have writers. If you want to guest host a show on our RBN channel, like there's a lot of announcements. These are things we're working on. It takes a lot of play to do this stuff, but we have a lot of plans for the RBN channel. So just know that channel is not dead. We have a lot of plans to get the community involved. So thank you guys for sticking in there with me. Thank you, Rathbone. Any final shout outs? I give you last word for the stream. Thank you. Thank you for joining us once again, brother. It's always fun to do shows with you, man.
absolutely. No, thank you for having me. And it was a good time talking with you. And I just encourage my audience to follow Nick Cruse on YouTube. Let's get him to 10K and beyond.
Let's go. I appreciate you guys, fam. I see you guys.